Welcome to a special episode of A Podcast from Beneath. This week I'm talking with the writer, director, and star of Cherokee Creek, Todd Jenkins.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
It has been established that persons who have recently died have been returning to life and committing acts of murder. The unburied dead are coming back to life, seeking human victims.
How's it going, man?
Doing great, man. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good.
Been fighting a little bit of sickness here, but I'm still hanging in there. All right.
Oh yeah, again, thanks for joining me on here. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem, man. Sorry I got the times mixed up again. I'm
No,
bad
it's
about
fine.
that stuff. I should always ask people right off the bat. What time is it where you're at right now?
Yeah.
Because noon's fine for me, and then I find out, they're in England or something. I'm like,
Yeah.
Guess I should have been up at 3:00 in the morning.
Right. So, tell me a little bit about your history with film.
Oh gosh, I've been a movie freak ever since I was a kid. It was all due to my aunt. My aunt would show me all these movies I wasn't supposed to be seeing. I guess like Jaws and Nightmare on Elm Street and all that good stuff. Matter of fact, I think I even saw Scarface when I was a kid. So I was seeing all these movies. Oh yeah, and of course First Blood too. I just noticed that they're going to be releasing Last Blood coming up. I guess in the fall, right?
Yeah, I just saw the trailer for it today. It looks really good.
But that's kind of where it all started. Was my love of movies back then. I just loved to be able to escape, real life and go somewhere else for 2 hours, I guess, or an hour and a half, whatever. But yeah, I loved movies, and I was a huge movie collector. I never had any intentions of being a filmmaker and actor. That was the furthest thing from my mind at that time.
Yeah, I would say that's the same with me growing up. I probably saw movies I shouldn't have as a kid. I remember seeing The Exorcist when I was a little kid.
I saw parts of that, man. That even by today's standards, that movie wouldn't even be allowed out, I don't think.
Yeah, no. And then of course, staying up late and watching stuff on HBO was
Right.
That's how I remember. That's the first time I seen American Werewolf in London, and the special effects that's what really got me into that.
Oh yeah, I think as a kid I remember seeing the Thriller music video, and that really was awesome. I thought it was a movie or something. I was like, what the hell is this? It was so cool.
So who is your yeah, go ahead.
Oh, you go ahead.
Who's your favorite director?
Oh gosh, I like so many.
Any certain one that like influences you more than the others, or?
They all influenced me in different ways. I guess for this movie in particular, I was really pulling from, I guess kind of Stallone, Kevin Smith, Tarantino, and Robert Rodriguez. I watched a lot of their interviews to inspire me more than anything. I know my movie has nothing to do with what something like Stallone would do, but it had to do with what he was going through with trying to get Rocky made. I think listening to those stories and listening to Kevin Smith saying, hey, no one's going to believe in you, so you're just going to have to figure out a way to do it on your own no matter what. I mean, just because you're saying even your parents aren't going to believe in you, they're going to tell you, what the hell are you doing, kid? And he's right. I mean, it really becomes this war within yourself to go against everything that everyone's telling you not to do and just do it anyway.
Right. Yeah, you definitely have to get out there and just, especially you, I guess, if you don't live in an area, Hollywood or New York, where it's easier, I guess, to find an easier way to do it, I guess.
I don't know that there's ever an easy way to do it. I don't know if being in those areas would have made it any easier. It might have made it even harder because in LA and New York, those are all unions, and here in Texas, it's a right to work state. So I think it would have been even harder because then the movie would have probably had to be union, and then I definitely couldn't have made the movie because we didn't have that kind of money.
Right. So what was the budget for Cherokee Creek?
Oh God, it's still growing, I guess. Everybody asks me that a lot. Going out when we started, there was no budget. It was put the movie on the credit card and see where we are. The opening of the movie was the first thing we shot, and even before that, it was about just buying the gear because our investors all pulled out like a couple days before production started. They kind of just ghosted me and disappeared. So it was a matter of just, talking with the wife and getting some finances and talking with Billy Blair, because at that point we were the only three left on the project. So it was like, hey, all the crew guys had quit. They don't want to be a part of this, and most of our actors had quit. So it was like, what do we do now? do we just say screw it and keep going? And the guy that was in the opening of Cherokee Creek was going to retire from acting and said, hey, you got one day to film me, and if you don't do it then, I'm just not going to be in your movie. So that really pushed me to write a script and to just go out and buy and throw down the gear and all that. I bought all the gear to shoot it with myself. So I probably spent about $10,000 on gear and then just had enough money to shoot his stuff for that day. But once I got that in the can and we started looking at it, I said, hey, we went through hell to get this, but I think we can do this on our own without a crew and without any big money or big stars coming involved. I think we can do it just with us. And that's kind of what we had to do going forward. And we did an Indiegogo campaign, and we raised just enough to help pay for some of the effects. We didn't do much. We didn't get a whole lot of money from that. And then Billy got cast in Alita Battle Angel. And then that raised enough money to be able to pay for the strippers in the movie.
Yeah, that definitely helps out. Yeah, this was I heard about the movie from another podcast, the Poe and Grimm podcast, which you were on.
Okay, very cool. Oh yeah, those guys are great, man.
Oh yeah, so that's how I heard about it. And I watched it. The first time I watched it was with one of my buddies, and we enjoyed it.
Awesome.
I thought this, because I'm kind of a fan of like the low budget independent film, horror films.
Right.
And this one here is my top independent horror film. Really, I thought the cinematography was really good on it. The writing, I really enjoyed the writing and the dialogue, and of course practical special effects. You can't go wrong with that.
Right. That was what was most important to me was, I kept telling Billy, I was like, if we don't get anything else right, we got to get the practical effects and we have to get the strippers in this movie. Everything else doesn't matter as much. But
yeah, practical effects and TNA, that's all that matters.
Yeah. It all mattered to me. Well, growing up from the 80s, that was the big thing, right? You'd watch these horrible movies, but they had TNA in them, so you're like, it was still pretty good,
Yeah.
It had some hot girls in it, so it was good. We never knew that was going to be one of the hardest things to find, because we didn't know living here in Texas that it was so anti to do nudity in movies, and that the majority of actors here are all just commercial actors and actresses. So we had no idea that people were just going to run from a project like this.
Oh, yeah, I did not know that about the area there.
It is. It's mainly commercial. Most of the film stuff in the Southeast is being done in Atlanta and New Orleans. So we just weren't finding those kind of actresses that would be willing to do something like that. And of course, anytime anybody read the script, because how outrageous it. I can only imagine how it was when people read it on paper. They were like, hell no, I'm not doing this movie.
Yeah.
even the effects people I was meeting with would tell me, hell no, they weren't doing this movie. So
really,
it was great to meet with Andy Aerosmith and Emma Campbell that were okay with doing all the crazy shit that I was wanting to do in the movie.
So was that I was going to ask you who done the practical effects. Is that like an effects company or just people that were also trying to get into the business?
There was a girl that was involved at the beginning, and I don't know what happened to her, but Andy worked for her. And, she came out the very first day to help on, with the hunters and their death scenes and stuff. And then after that, she just kind of disappeared from the picture, but he decided he was going to stay on the project. And then he brought in Emma to work with us. So that was, as far as I can tell, that was a blessing. I don't know what happened to that girl or why she disappeared, but it was great because I was just able to just pay him and I didn't have to deal with her anymore. But I don't know why she disappeared either. I can only assume that most people work on a lot of low budget movies and they never get finished. That's the only thing I can think of. I've been in a lot of movies that still aren't finished. They're probably been in post for 6-7 years, and I'm like, what's going on with that movie? Is it ever going to come out? What are they waiting for? So I don't know. Maybe they're waiting for somebody to become famous, and then when we do, they'll bring it out and embarrass us. I don't know.
Yeah, I can imagine that it's. Personally, I've never made a movie, but I've always wanted to. That was one of my dreams growing up, but it just never happened for me. But I can imagine it's a hard process when you're just trying to do it on your own without a production company behind you.
Oh, it felt like it was damn near impossible. I know some people feel like have said it that it's like going to war or whatever, and then they got attacked for that. But it does feel like it's a war within yourself and a war with every single person you know, because if you don't have money, like everybody that says it's not that big a deal that works in Hollywood, it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal if you've got millions and millions of dollars to spend. Like on Jaws, if you look back at Jaws when things went wrong, they just kept going over budget, and they kept reshooting things. I mean, that's kind of what movies do. If they go over budget or something doesn't turn out right, they just spend millions more dollars to fix it, right? But when you're doing something like this, you've got one shot maybe to do it right, and you don't have any money. You have to be creative and try to figure out how you're going to make something with no money. So that's very, for me, I don't think it gets any harder than doing independent films.
But I would also say that not having that production company as the backer allows you more freedom to make the movie you want to make. Would you agree with that, or?
Oh yeah, definitely. Even meeting with the investors, a lot of times they were like, well, you're going to have to change this, you're going to have to change this, you're going to change that. So the great thing about it, me having to put it on the credit card and all my money, was that I was going to make the movie I wanted to make, and I didn't give a shit what anybody thought.
Right. So you did have I guess before Amazon would pick it up, you did had to cut. You had that little scene at the beginning with the kidnappers. I
Right,
guess
right, right.
Amazon had made you cut that.
We thought that would be fun, and that was inspired by Alamo Drafthouse. If you've ever been to an Alamo Drafthouse, they always have different people come on and say, if you talk, we're going to kick you the fuck out of the theater, blah, blah, blah. No cell phones, no talking, or you'll be out, no refunds, all that kind of stuff. So it kind of started like that. We did some of those for our screenings for our movie that we were doing, and people just ate it up and loved it. So we're like, hey, well, why don't we include that on the release, on the digital release, and we'll just say, we'll do an anti-piracy message and see how that flows. And people were loving it, but obviously Amazon did not love it.
Yeah, I wonder. I don't know, like what part of that. I mean, maybe it was just the aiming the guns at the camera. Like I don't know. It didn't seem as there was stuff in the film that was more. You would think they would have cut out before they would want that scene to be cut.
Well, my only guess is they probably approve just about everything that comes to them to be put on, and then as the person was, making that final click to turn it on Christmas, to come on Christmas Day or whatever, they saw the opening and were like, "Whoa, what the hell is this?" And I almost think Fandango now thought the same thing. I almost feel like they just watched that opening and said, "This isn't a movie. I don't know what the hell this is, but we're not putting this out." Because Amazon never told us that was the reason they weren't going to put it out. They just would say the movie's too offensive, we're not going to carry it. That was the follow up we got after Christmas Day, and then I talked to our aggregator, which is distributor, and I said, hey man, why don't you just take out the kidnappers? That way they'll see it's a real movie, and maybe they'll let it go through if you submit it again. And that's what happened. It just happened to pop up. No one from Amazon ever commented or gave us any reason why they weren't going to show it or why they started showing it. It just popped up on there all of a sudden, and it was without the kidnappers. So I go, oh, well, then obviously it was the kidnappers then.
Right. So where did you film The Bachelor Party?
All the stuff was filmed in the woods up in Melissa, Texas. It's about 40 minutes north of Dallas.
So is it not? There's not. There's not a real Cherokee Creek, or is that?
No, there's not a real Cherokee Creek.
Oh, okay.
No, what happened was, just like with most of the names in the movie, except for the ones that are based on real people, I was doing a search, and you always hear Boggy Creek, Boggy Creek, Boggy Creek. And then there was some things coming up, Cherokee Creek County, where some Bigfoot sightings have been seen, or posted about. So I was like, oh, so if I can combine Cherokee and then Creek, that'll be the title of the movie. So I wasn't putting a whole lot of thought into it. I just thought it sounded cool. And,
right.
I didn't know we were going to get flack for it. Obviously, we got flack for the title of the movie. There was people who had problems with the poster. I think in today's society, people have a problem with everything. That someone's just going to look for something to have a problem with because they want to be the first person on social media to complain about something.
Well, yeah, that's how you get famous nowadays, is your 15 minutes of Twitter fame because you hated something and you had
Right.
something intelligent to say about it. So,
Oh,
so
I get that stuff every day to this day right now. I'm still getting haters every day saying stuff, but I don't mind it. I love it. I think it's hilarious to me. It doesn't bother me. It just makes me laugh.
right. So, do you believe in Bigfoot?
I definitely believe that there's something out there. There's just been way too many sightings. I would think there's something out there. I'm sure there's a lot of fake sightings, but I do. There's got to be something out there. There's way too many people who've told the story. I think even a president had said he'd seen one before, right? Something like that. I don't know
Maybe.
if it, I don't know if it was Roosevelt or somebody that said they'd seen one. I
So,
don't know.
yeah, so I didn't know if that was, just you had Bigfoot because like normally or a lot of the independent 80s throwback horror movies are slashers. So
Right.
it was kind of refreshing to see one with, Bigfoot or something else other than a slasher in the woods.
The main reason I chose Bigfoot is because when I met Billy Blair, we did a movie called Bigfoot Wars, and that movie was like the time of my life to be on that set with him and C. Thomas Howell and all these other actors I had met. And I just had a blast making it. And then the movie came out, and it was just a real turd. So I was so disappointed in it, man. And just hearing the stories, I mean, like, I don't want to call anybody out, but a lot of people have seen the movie, and I mean, they were just like super depressed. I thought, man, these people might kill themselves because they're in this Bigfoot Wars movie. And I could never get that bad taste out of my mouth. I was like, dude, I got to redeem myself from being in this really bad movie because I wanted it to be awesome. I just thought, man, this because they had money, they had a budget. So you're like, how are they going to screw this up? But they did. They found a way. I mean, there's a million ways to screw up a movie, and they found a way to do it.
No, that wasn't an asylum release, was it?
That would have been a blessing. No, it wasn't a silent release. I wish it would have been. They probably would have done a better job with it.
Ouch.
But no, it was terrible, and I kept thinking about it. And then up in Melissa, when we were filming it, I had a relative that lived there, and he kept saying, "Hey, man, when are you gonna make your own movie? You need to hurry up and do something. You're getting old." And I was like, "You're right. I need to do something." And it just kind of came together, and I based it on my real friends. There's a real Pat, and there's a real Caroline, and a real Chad. Like all those people exist, but obviously they're not those characters. I obviously kind of went to the extreme with some of the characters, but I'd say the one that might be closest to the actual character would be Chad.
Yeah, actually, that was a question I was going to ask. Was that Chad character based on someone you know? Because I think everybody knows someone who is, um, whenever someone says they believe in aliens or big, they're always the science person that wants to.
Right.
So I didn't know if that was based on someone you knew.
Oh yeah. There's a real Pat. We for his bachelor party we actually went to a casino, not camping, but he does believe in aliens. He does believe in Bigfoot. Those kind of things were true. And I remember my wife calling me and telling me, "Hey, they're going to a dick bar tonight, and you guys are at a casino." And I was like, "What?" so I just remembered all those things when I was telling the story. But the funny thing about that is I had another person close to me recently that was having a bachelor party, and they weren't allowed to go to a strip bar either. They could only go and play golf. So I was like, this movie is coming true more and more every day with these guys that I'm meeting. They're just all so whipped that they won't do anything that their woman doesn't tell them they're allowed to do.
All right. So you said that you purchased the equipment yourself. What kind of camera? What camera did you use to film this?
It was a Sony A7S Mark II, I believe.
And I guess you did. Was it just the one camera?
Yeah, that was the one camera, and then all the drone shots I brought in. I think there was at least 2 different pilots that had drones I brought in for those shots.
Yeah, that was another thing. Was the when you filmed the I guess the highway scene? Was that I mean, obviously you didn't have the interstate shut down.
No,
So I guess that was sort of just guerrilla filmmaking.
everything in this movie is guerrilla filmmaking. Everything. Yeah, we were, and the funny thing is the guy who actually has the thing on his head that was played by at least 2 or 3 different actors.
Oh, really?
Yeah, At
Just
one point, the guy who's driving the van is actually the guy with it on his head.
so I guess it was took you more than one day to film it.
Oh yeah, the filming of the van sequence, just getting in the van, the talking, the kidnapping, getting back in the van, getting to the location. God, that was probably one of the toughest things to shoot in the whole movie.
Really?
Yeah, it was a scheduling nightmare, just trying to get everybody there, and then getting someone to hold the camera. The funny thing about it, if you know the kid in the movie, the youngest kid, I'm not going to give it away because it's a spoiler, but you know what I'm talking about.
All right.
That's talking to the producer in the woods. He filmed all that, the beginning of the van stuff with me and Billy talking, with the Jarrett character in the van, and then us running out of the van and then kidnapping the guy. And he had never used a camera before. That was his training on the set. So that's basically what I would do. I had been working. Whenever I started in business, probably 17, 18 years ago, I would always fill in a spot that needed help, whether it was camera, sound, lighting, whatever. So I took all those elements and I just kept making sure to learn a little bit of something about everything, and then I would try to master each thing. So when it came time to do this movie, I knew I had worked almost every position on a film set at some point. So I had an idea how to do all the production and the post-production. So I was like, if there's just anybody on set ever I can grab, I can kind of train them really quick and how to get what I want out of them quickly. If I could set the camera settings up and light it right, I can tell him exactly what to do with the camera. But that was like a running shot when we got out of the van. If you remember, he had to run with us up to the door, and I think we did that in like 3 or 4 takes, but he nailed that right away. And I was like, wow, I can't believe we actually were able to pull that off without having an experienced camera guy.
Yeah, no, that was it said there was no he was just carrying the camera, no dolly or no steady cam or anything like that.
Well, I'd gotten a gimbal at the time. I think it's called a Ronin. So yeah, I had bought a Ronin, but even the very first day of all that stuff in the intro of the movie in the woods, we had just gotten that thing in because we didn't know, obviously we didn't know we were going to have to shoot this ourselves. So I had to try to learn how to use it on my own. So everything that day was my first day to ever use one of those things. So it was just a whole lot of, man, I don't know how we got so lucky and blessed that this stuff turned out as well as it did, but we were always just getting very, very lucky that things were turning out great.
Yeah, so the beginning, when the kidnapping scene at the beginning, that when you guys come back out of the house, getting ready to live in the van, has one of my favorite lines in the film, which is, kissing ass is out of style, how would you lay down that shit in your mouth?
Yep. That's a saying that my mom actually does say.
So that was your mom playing that part in the movie? Yes,
definitely. She had told me she'd always wanted to be an actress and all this stuff, and she was telling me she wanted to be in the movie, and I was like, great. Well, where the hell is she going to fit in? I had no idea where she was going to be. But I remember her saying that, and I was like, man, how could I work that into the script? And, that's where the kidnapping came in, and then we bump into her on the way out.
Yeah, I noticed there was a, I guess at the end, during the credits, you had the bloopers,
right,
or outtakes, and you had that, her trying to say that line.
Oh
at
man,
the end.
Yeah, it was a horrible day once again. We always had to deal with 10-degree weather or rainy weather, and the day that she came out, it was just pouring down rain, and I'm trying to teach that guy how to use the camera and how to film different shots that I wanted, and it wasn't going well at all. So the rain let up for just a second. So if you look really close at her jacket, you'll see there's little rain beads up on her jacket there. But man, yeah, I did not think we were ever going to get anything shot, because it was every time we would get something on the schedule to try to do it, it would rain.
Yeah, so I guess that would be a continuity problem.
Well, yeah,
no
one noticed
rain on one shot and rain, and rain in your reverse shot, not the other shot.
But no one has noticed it. If you look at, how the 2 kidnappers are talking to her. Mm-hmm. That was shot on a separate day with just me and Billy only, because I took the camera back out there, stuck it on a tripod, and shot that with just me and him doing all that, along with some of the stuff of him in the van. But those weren't all shot on a totally different day.
Right. There was, I think, to be honest with you, there was only one shot that kind of threw me off, and that was whenever, I think you were talking to Brick, and then Pat walks up.
Right.
And the way the camera cuts back to Brick, and then you guys are not looking at him anymore. It was just a weird, I don't know, just had that like a weird shot. It just seemed weird. It kind of threw me off because I didn't know if it cut to a different scene altogether. It just looked weird.
Ah, I got you.
But other than that, I think that the rest of the movie is just so fun that you don't really pay attention to any kind of little continuity errors or anything like that.
Right. Yeah, we look at Brick at the end because I think I'm so pissed off at him about trying to ruin the bachelor party because my whole thing when I tell these guys about bachelor parties it is true. It's not for them. It's for the married miserable guys and the single guys.
Yeah.
So don't do that to your friends. If you're gonna get married, have a real bachelor party, dude.
Yeah, and in the woods, have it out in the woods.
Maybe not in the woods, but
So how long have you known Billy?
well, I didn't meet him until we did Bigfoot Wars. Up until that, before that, I saw that he was doing some independent films around here, and I was trying to get on those independent films with him. And I would contact him through social media and try to send him like some of my demos and clips of me acting and stuff. And he just wasn't paying attention to me too much because I'm sure he was just like, oh God, it's another crazed fan, from the Machete days or whatever. And so whenever we both got cast in Bigfoot Wars, I sent him a text through social media saying, hey, dude, we're going to finally work together this weekend. So I think it was one of those things like he was like, oh, crap, I'm going to be forced to I'm going to be forced to work with this guy. Maybe I should talk to him now.
Well, you guys, like, just watching the movie, I would have assumed that you had known each other for years.
Oh,
The way that you interacted with each other.
We had done several movies together, coincidentally. We just kept getting cast in movies together after that. So that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, so his character, the Vinny Blades character, I would love to see a spinoff. The adventures of Vinny Blades.
Yeah. That would be Switchblade. The problem with Switchblade is that it's going to be a lot more expensive than Cherokee Creek, of course.
Right.
So, that's the whole key to this independent film thing is how the hell do you make money doing it?
Well, you sell DVDs and you sell T-shirts.
Yeah, that's not enough. Well,
Right.
now that I've done it, and I'm trying to explain it to other people. I'm like, okay, so say for instance that our budget was like $20,000 to actually make the movie, right? That meant nobody got paid and we all suffered and it was a living hell for 2 or 3 years, whatever, right? For $20,000. But by the time you get the movie out, you got to spend like $4,000 to $6,000 making the Blu-rays. You got to spend $4,000 to $6,000 to get it on digital because you have to go through these processes called quality control. You got to do all that stuff. And then another thing a lot of companies want you to get is called errors and omissions insurance in case you get sued or something. That's up to a $10,000 policy. So right there, you're already at another $20-something thousand you've spent, almost
Right.
$30,000 just to get your movie out. So then your budget goes from being a $20,000 movie to a $30,000 movie, and then you have no marketing budget, but you got to put at least probably I'd say $6,000 to $10,000 into marketing. So now you went from $20,000 to $60,000. And then all these people like Amazon and all them, they take between 50 and 55% of everything you sell on their website.
So you're saying do it for the love of film and not the money?
No, I'm saying, a lot of people, what I'm saying is if you started out with a $20,000 movie, you think it's going to be easy to get that back. You may have to make $200,000 before you break even.
Right.
And that's if you don't give it to, you don't follow the proper channels. Like the proper channels that you're supposed to follow according to Hollywood is you get a sales agent, right? And this agent guy is going to go shop your movie, and then that sales agent is going to get you a distributor. Well, now that we live in a totally different age, which is the digital age, Netflix is a distributor, Amazon is a distributor, iTunes is a distributor. So those are distributors too. So you could go and take your movie to Sony Pictures, and then they're going to get this huge percentage. They're going to write themselves a check for all the first money that comes in. And then they're going to go shop it out to the rest of these people. So you're before it's said and done, you're just giving away 50% here, 50% there, 20% here. And then you're like, there's just really no way to make a dime on this thing.
Right, yeah.
So, yeah, that's the tough part. That's kind of where we are. But I've done this one 100% independent. I have not brought any sales agents in, and I did not go through any studio. I mean, this is all just me because I wanted to see how the hell you can make money doing this. And I thought, in my opinion, this was going to be the best movie to try to do that with because I thought I feel really strongly that when people see it, and they'll really like it and they'll tell more people, And that's kind of what's going on with it right now. It seems like we've been talking about the movie for 3 years, but there's still, millions of people out there that don't even know about the movie yet. So
Yeah, I would say that because I mean, like I said, I heard about it through Program podcast, and then of course, started following you on the Facebook and Twitter. So it's the word of mouth definitely seems like it helps out a lot.
word of mouth and being on social media. If I live on social media for 4 to 6 hours a day, I can really make an impact. I have to really reach out to fans and talk to people, and people go on shows and stuff like that, podcasts. But that's not good on the marriage. But
Right. And
I can do it, and I've done it, and I need to continue to do it as much as possible. But yeah, it's definitely hard, and it's probably going to be at least another year of work of just really pushing it to get it out there to try to make that money back for sure.
And then you guys were recently at the Texas Frightmare weekend.
Yeah, that was awesome. It started out kind of slow, but it wasn't a good weekend for me because I lost my cat after that weekend. But he was sick during that, so I would go out there to Texas Frightmare weekend probably for 3 or 4 hours, and once me and Billy were able to actually get together and then walk around, 1 or 2 people would recognize us from the movie or whatever movie he was in, and then it would just kind of cause a small little frenzy there that more and more people would come over and talk to us and grab the Blu-ray. So that was kind of how we were selling them there.
Now, do you plan on doing any other conventions in the future, or?
I know that Scream Team's at a convention today. I think it's in Pennsylvania. I just posted about it. I'd have to look at the post to see where it's at, but I know that they're out promoting it. They're going to be doing a lot more of the conventions, but I don't know how many more we're going to be able to get to this year.
Because I guess you're trying to. I guess because that was a local convention for you, so I guess you're not really thinking about. You're not thinking about traveling. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, traveling would probably. I don't know that we can make enough to cover our expenses on the travel.
Right.
Strangely enough, though, we're still doing good, though. I mean, there's still fans calling us up and emailing us and coming out. There's still every day. Billy will send me probably a picture of like 4 or 5 people that bought the movie from him that day. So I'm like, wow, that's awesome.
Yeah,
there's a lot of days I'm at the studio. I don't ever leave the studio. I'm just here working all the time. So he's out and about. So there's a lot more people buying it from him right now. But I'm definitely doing my social media thing to get us out there for sure.
Oh yeah. Any plans for a sequel to this one, or are you gonna work on something different for your next film?
I think the Switchblade thing would be a lot of fun. I just don't know. I don't know what kind of money we could get to make something like that. I haven't really thought that far ahead because right now we're so deep into trying. Our next thing with this movie is to try to get it on Shudder, and then after Shudder, we'll try to get it on Tubi and then Redbox, and all that stuff. And then, and now I'm trying to develop some merchandise right now that we can sell, such as T-shirts, and stuff like that. So after this year is up, I will probably start developing another script, I would think.
Oh, okay. So currently you can get the film digitally, but you're also got a Blu-ray and DVD releasing, and that was through Scream Team releasing, correct?
That is right. Scream Team releasing. We heard about them from a horror website called Fits of Horror, and he was one of the first people to step up, because another thing that filmmakers don't know is people don't just watch your movie. You think when you make a movie that people watch your movie. They don't. A lot of them are either paid to watch your movie, or you have a really expensive publicist that's going to get people to watch your movie. So we didn't know all that. We thought, hey, we could just contact all these horror websites and people would watch our movie. It didn't work that way, but he was one of the first ones to watch it, and I think he had like 185,000 followers. So we were like, wow, this guy's got a great following. So he started putting the word out about our movie, and then other people picked it up and started looking at it, like pophorror.com, We Live Entertainment, some of the other websites. And then we even got Lyle Blackburn, who's a big Bigfoot guy who works for Rube Ward, to come out, and he actually watched our movie at the premiere and had an awesome time at it. So that's kind of how that all got kicked off. But Fits of Horror told Scream Team about our movie, and they're one of the few horror independent companies that actually puts out Blu-rays, because a lot of the studios on low budget movies, they won't even put out a Blu-ray. They might put out a DVD, if that.
Yeah, they do some good work. I've purchased some Blu-rays from them before, and of course you have the Blu-ray, you have the DVD, and I know you did have the VHS. Is all 3 of those still in stock and available for purchase, or?
We just did VHS and Blu-ray. We didn't do DVD.
You didn't do a DVD? Okay.
Yeah, there's still people wanting the DVD, but I mean, like I said, people don't understand. Just to do the Blu-ray, you'll have to spend like between $4,000 and $6,000 just to get 1,000 made and to get it out. So it's not. I know everybody thinks that we're doing this at our home.
Right. Yeah.
They're like, dude, I can make one right now. We're like, yeah, you can, but it doesn't mean it's going to work on every person's Blu-ray player around the world. We actually have to have it professionally mastered and duplicated so that we make sure that it works everywhere. Not just at your DVD player that you have on your computer at home.
Right. Yeah.
So we
Yeah,
have it
like-
professionally authored, professionally mastered, and we have all the artwork professionally printed. So yeah, we definitely put a lot of money into making sure everything's top notch, and Screen Team's done an awesome job with that. And they had me involved with 100% of it. How it was going to look, what special features I wanted to do, and that was great. I was involved 100% on every single thing. Whereas a lot of these companies, they just take your movie, they'll change the title of the movie, they'll put fake artwork on it, like saying. I was in one movie that like said it was the next Mad Max or something, which was total bullshit. And they put like fake pictures of people on the cover that were not even in the movie. They do all these weird marketing schemes just to get people to buy the movie for $10 or $15, and then they're like, "Oh, well, I guess you got screwed over because that's not the movie you're going to be seeing."
Yeah.
So I just
Yeah,
I wasn't wanting to do that to people. I was like, man, I'm getting tired of working on movies that just keep doing that. It's such bullshit.
Yeah, the Blu-ray's really nice. Like I ordered mine, I got the autographed edition, and I was surprised that it came with a poster that was also autographed. So that was like a nice little bonus.
I couldn't believe the cast showed up to do that. It was incredible because I think I had a 24-hour turnaround to get that back to Justin.
Right.
We were trying to our goal was to get it out as fast as possible because I had this whole idea, May the 4th be with you. I wanted to get them out by then. And I called as many cast members as I could. I said, you got to come over here and give me 2 hours of your life and sign like 400 items. So they all came in, though, at different times that day, and we got as many as we could. We didn't get everybody that we wanted, but we got as many as we could during that 24-hour time.
Oh yeah, there was a lot on there on the poster and the DVD.
Yeah, that was really cool. Yeah, I don't know if you noticed some of the people that signed it, like Nellie Shudo. She was from the Scorsese back in the day. She'd been in like Shutter Island and some of his movies.
Oh yeah. So do you still have the prosthetic, or not prosthetic, but do you still have the fake dick that was used in the film? Did you keep that?
I don't think I have that. I don't think I do. I could, but I don't think I do. I don't know. I boxed everything up and I stuck it in a garage somewhere, so I don't think I have that.
It just seems like that would be something you would want to keep. Maybe
Yeah,
put it on my mantle somewhere.
that's pretty funny though. That thing kept disappearing because I bought like a couple different ones online that I was trying to get it to look like, and then I gave it to the effects team, and then they tried to. I guess someone stole it, so then they had to make one themselves, and then it didn't look right, and then we had to have another one made. There was a whole lot of drama with that dick.
Right.
The dick brought me lots of drama, that's for sure. Just trying to get it shot right, and because I remember I wanted it to move in Billy's hands because a couple of them were just too stiff. I thought it was funny though with it being so big in his hand and just flopping around in there while he was talking.
Yeah.
That was important for it to flop around, and then. Even my shot, there was a lot of drama. When I did the reveal, there was a few times we shot it, and they'll tell you that I would work out really hard, for a couple of weeks, and then I'd get ready to shoot the scene, and I wouldn't eat or drink any water that day, and I was trying to look in shape and everything, and then we'd shoot it, and then something would come wrong, like there's something on the lens, or it was a blurry shot, and I had to do it again. I was like, man, I'm so pissed right now because I got to do this diet for another week, Which is probably a blessing because it made me look better, as far as not being overweight, because I definitely had a beer gut going into it, for sure.
Right.
But I did not have one by the time we got the right shot. I lost it. But, man, it was some miserable times trying to get in shape for that shot, for that 2 seconds.
Yeah. Yeah, that scene whenever she's, performing it on you, and the question why are your nipples so small?
Yeah,
and
that's all happened to me in real life, dude. All that stuff happened.
So a lot of this was based on true experiences.
I would say almost all. I mean, everything with me and Billy anytime he and I are talking, it's very much based on a true experience or an argument we've had, or something like that. A lot of times before we would roll, I would just tell him, hey, I know what the script says, but I might go a little off script, and I'm probably going to piss you off in some things I'm going to say, but just stay in the moment and let's see what happens.
Right. So does he really sign? Does he really autograph with just the straight line?
No. But a lot of people wanted him to do that for the Blu-ray release, and I was like, absolutely not.
Right.
I was like, that would not be a cool thing. Let's don't do that.
Yeah.
But it would have been funny, but it wouldn't have been cool.
Right. So do you have I know, so this was technically your first movie that you wrote, directed.
Yeah, technically it was definitely the first for all those things. But I have been helping other people on their movies, for a
Right.
long time. A lot of times people get this director credit, but it doesn't mean that they knew a damn thing about how to make a movie.
Right.
So I was definitely there holding a lot of people's hands, and a lot of people, when it gets to post-production, they just fall apart. I mean, a lot of people will just go into this huge mental breakdown, anxiety attacks, quit the movie, and I'll just have to go in there and try to pick up the pieces and save it.
Right. So do you have any, what would be, let's do this type of question, advice for young filmmakers out there that are getting ready to maybe start on their first film?
Their first film. Well, make sure that you can do it low budget, and try to build a reliable team that's going to stick with you through hell, because it will be hell. I think most productions that turn out well do have to go through hell to get it done, and do something that's going to sell. I keep meeting these filmmakers that want to tell these stories, but they've been told before. Don't try to do something that's already been done before and do it the exact same way and think that people are going to watch it. It's got to be, you got to have something in there that's going to stand out. For this movie, I purposely would put things in there, like the dick scene and all those different things that I thought, this is probably going to get people talking. So a lot of it was do something that can be marketable and that's going to get people talking. Because if I would have just kept it boring, or the average stuff, I don't think people would be talking about the movie right now.
Yeah, like I said, I definitely enjoyed it. Like I said, it's my top independent horror film.
That's awesome, man. That's what I was going for. I actually love the movie too. I think it's probably definitely in my top 10 for sure, of for indies for sure, even though it's my own movie, but I've had to watch it thousands upon thousands of times. My advice to everybody, if you're going to watch Cherokee Creek, do not watch it alone. I keep telling people, you got to watch. I mean, every time I watched it, I tried to watch it with at least 4 to 8 other people in the room with me, because I was always trying to get a feel of what jokes were working. Is the movie too long? What's working and what's not working with the movie. That's why I was so shocked, when it would come out and people review it and say, oh, the movie's 30 minutes too long. I was like, man, we were filling up theaters with 300 people, and I never got a sense it was too long.
Yeah, I don't think it was. I don't know. I don't think it was too long. I think maybe some of the kills were kind of maybe spaced out a little bit. It just made it feel that way. But other than that, I really enjoyed it. Again,
I think
practical
the
effects.
thing I was trying to do is, and I kept telling people, and I'm not trying to compare myself to Spielberg. People will say you're trying to compare yourself to Spielberg. No, I was trying to do kind of like the Jaws thing, and other people noticed that in the movie. As you introduce, there is a Bigfoot. We know there's a Bigfoot, right? Yes, there's a Bigfoot. And then you just kind of forget about the Bigfoot for a little while. And then we take you down this other path. It's kind of like a Quentin Tarantino-ish thing in the van, because that was inspired by the foot massage scene in Pulp Fiction.
Right.
Before they go in and kill those guys. I wanted to cut to these guys in a van. They're just talking about regular day stuff, and then it turns into a kidnapping. And then the audience is going, well, what the fuck is happening with this movie now? I don't know where we're going, but this is interesting. And then we reveal that it's a bachelor party, and we make sure I keep throwing in a little Bigfoot stuff there that, hey, he's still there, and he's probably going to do something soon, but you don't know when. And a lot of Bigfoot movies would do that, but they never reveal the Bigfoot, or when they do, it looks like shit. It's terrible.
Yeah.
and the death scenes are just god awful, and you're like, oh god, this death scenes are terrible. And the Bigfoot looks like shit, or they never even showed the Bigfoot, whatever. So I wanted to make sure that we took you on a little ride, but I think probably for the last 45 minutes or so, once the mayhem starts happening, it doesn't stop.
Yeah, I think that for me, whenever the Pat character wakes back up, and him and Vinny are doing their stuff together, to me that it kind of picked back up there because they were really great together, especially when they get back to the van.
Right.
And they're trying to hide out in the van. I thought that was one of my other favorite scenes.
Awesome. Yeah, but one of the things I tell people, it's not so much as a horror as it is a horror comedy, and with horror comedies, it's not always super scary, but it's funny. Just like Tucker and Dale versus Evil, that's one of my favorite horror comedies of all time, but it's not a scary movie.
Nah. Well, yeah, just early.
You're not getting scared like, oh my God, what's going on? But there are some moments of that, just like we have a few scary moments, but the whole movie's not. And you got to remember that, based on our story, a lot of this is that the guys either they don't believe in Bigfoot, so they're not going to be freaking out, oh, there's a Bigfoot out here. They don't know any of this is going on until they're dead. So it's not like we're running from Bigfoot and we're trying to survive Bigfoot killing us. As far as we know, there is no Bigfoot out there.
Right. One more thing another thing I want to touch on real quick, the rules that you have, the no pissing in the woods, no shitting in the woods. Is that based on actual? Is that something you came up with for the movie?
No,
or is that something
that
you'd read about?
That was talking with different people who are hunters and stuff like that. That hunt deer or hunt whatever. Any animal that you pretty much hunt is very territorial. And I think they use piss a lot more to mark their territory. They probably don't do shit or ejaculation or anything like that.
Right, yeah.
Semen or anything. But I just thought it would be funny to introduce that as well. I was like, well, if an animal doesn't want you pissing in its territory, why would they want you shitting or ejaculating in their territory?
Well, it kind of gave me that like Friday the 13th. Have sex in the woods, you're gonna die.
Right.
That type of rule that that kind of got put in place with that movie.
Right. Well, I mean, I honestly think. Well, I even said it this way: like, Bigfoot lives there, right? By the end of the movie, Bigfoot lives there, and that it's 100% his territory, and that we definitely went where we weren't supposed to go. So if you were to go into like a bear's cave and start doing all that dumb shit, you would probably get your fucking ass ripped up in half. So.
More than likely, yes.
So I mean, I think the same. I think those rules apply. I think you would definitely get into trouble if you try to do any of that stuff, in a wild animal's territory. You can't just go in there and do those kind of things.
Well, you probably couldn't even do that in your friend's house. In your friend's house and shit in his floor, he'd probably he probably won't be too happy.
Even your friend wouldn't like to come into his own territory and see you doing that. So right. Bigfoot definitely doesn't like that. He doesn't want people coming in and messing with him. I don't think I painted Bigfoot as a bad guy, though. A lot of the people who are pro Bigfoot were attacking me when the movie came out. I was like, well, you haven't seen the movie, and if you watch the movie all the way through the end, you know that we're not against Bigfoot in any way. Maybe we're pro Bigfoot.
Yeah, pro Bigfoot. Yeah, I definitely didn't get the Bigfoot bashing.
No. I don't think we didn't. The Bigfoot in our movie doesn't kill anybody pretty much that doesn't deserve it.
Right.
Well, I mean, it's just like going. If you were, if you're going to go someone with a great white shark, because now people actually do that. I don't know if you've seen the videos online, but there are people who do swim outside of the cage with great white sharks. But you're not going to go over there and cut your hand and stick it in front of the great white's mouth.
I would hope not.
Yeah, that's not going to go well for you. So that's basically what these guys were doing. They were like, hey, we're not supposed to do this in Bigfoot's territory, but we're going to go ahead and do it anyway. Yeah. And it doesn't work out well for them. And it's kind of impossible not to do those things. I mean, if you're going to go in the woods and you're going to spend a couple days out there, you're definitely going to be pissing shit. And then if you got strippers showing up, you're going to be doing the other as well. So. Oh,
yeah. It's inevitable. It's going to happen.
Yeah. All those things. I think those things happen, I think that would happen if there was a Bigfoot out there.
All right, well, that's all the questions I really had for you. Like I said, I just wanted to get you on here just to talk because, like I said, I really enjoyed the movie, and I knew that I'd heard from the other podcast that you seemed to be approachable about coming on here and talking with me about it. So, I definitely want to help get the word out, about the film. So if you want to go ahead and plug everything, all your social media, where they can purchase the film.
Okay. You can purchase the Blu-ray, which is my favorite version of the movie, because there's everything that's deleted scenes are on there, all kinds of special features. There's absolutely no censorship on the Blu-ray if you've watched it. You can get that. The best place to buy it for the filmmaker is, for me anyway, is screamteamreleasing.com. And we have it available on digital for rental or purchase. I think they lowered the price recently to like $1.99 for the SD version, $2.99 to rent it in HD, and that's on Amazon, iTunes, Google Play, and Vudu. And that's where we're currently at. And we're going to see if we can't get this thing out on Shudder and possibly Tubi in the future. And we're going to be working on some merchandise as well, T-shirts and stuff like that. And our social media websites are Cherokee Creek Movie. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Now, for the Shudder, do you had a form that you're asking everybody to fill out? Is that still something that's open for people to do?
I did that, but I definitely have to pay an aggregator to go in there and pitch it, or an agent. I mean, there's just no way of getting around it. Unfortunately, I don't think it would have been great if Shudder would respond to people. They have not. I think they make you go through an agency or an aggregator. So we might be at the point where we're going to have to try to raise, $400, $500, $600 to get someone to pitch it to them. Hopefully they'll take it and pay for it. We'll see what they want to offer for it.
See, this is where you find that the fake dick and you sell it on eBay to make money. You can autograph it and then sell it on eBay.
Yeah, you think that would work, huh?
Yeah, it probably would. So then you mentioned your T-shirts you're working on. I've seen the designs; they look really good. I can't wait for those to come out. Are you going to be just doing that? You're like selling those yourself, or?
We've got some companies right now that are bidding for it. So we're going to get some samples in and see who does the best job.
All right, that sounds awesome, man. I mean, good luck in the future with all that.
I don't sell something to the public until I see it. Unfortunately, I've gotten some shirts before and they feel like wearing cardboard.
Right.
I'm never wearing this shirt again. This is the most uncomfortable T-shirt I've ever worn. And there are T-shirts out there that are actually just cheap pieces of shit. So I want to make sure the T-shirt's good, that the print work looks good on the shirt, and that I can wash it and it doesn't disappear.
Right. Yeah, we sell our T-shirts through TeePublic, and I've purchased several of them. And they are good quality.
Awesome.
Of course, you don't want to do that because they take a pretty big cut of the sale, but.
Yeah, everybody wants a cut, man. That's the thing, I don't mind a cut of something, but man, when people are taking 50 to 55% of something that they didn't do anything with, and they don't advertise, it really sucks. I mean, the thing that really sucks about Amazon is that they don't have our movie listed anywhere on the site. I mean, you have to search for it. Yeah. Which really pisses me off, because I know that our sales are better than most of the movies that they've got on there, but for whatever reason, they just hide our movie on all the digital platforms. They're like, nope, this Cherokee Creek, we can't be showing it. So therefore, I have to spend another $500 a month in advertising or whatever, just so people know it exists.
Well, like I said, hopefully this episode here will help get the word out. And like I said, I'll continue to share everything you put up on Facebook and Twitter. And again, I just want to thank you for joining me on here. And good luck in the future with your next film and this, the continued success of Cherokee Creek.
Awesome, man. Thanks for having me, and I appreciate all your support, man. I'm really, really glad that you like the movie.
Oh, yeah, no problem, man. And hopefully I can talk to you later.
Yeah, anytime, man. I'm very approachable.
All right, man.
All right, bud. Take care.